What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. So here I am, I'm taking a trip up to Tennessee, and I'm sitting here thinking, you know, I should probably do like a video or something, kind of keeps my content going for y'all. So I decided I'd talk about the Scat pack that I used to have, and now that I have a Hellcat, talk about is it really kind of worth the upgrade. So before we get started, please hit that subscribe button and hit that bell notification so you don't miss out on any videos. Also, I do want to go ahead and apologize. There is going to be some road noise and stuff throughout the video, but I'm hoping it's not too unbearable for y'all. But let's get started. So, to begin with, the first topic we'll talk about is the big obvious, and that is power. So, obviously, the Hellcat has a lot more power than the Scat pack does. But I mean, you really only notice that once you're kind of up to higher speeds, unless you have like a wide tire setup, or say like well, mine's a narrow body Hellcat, but if you have a wide body Hellcat, you get a little bit better grip. But anyways, going back to how it drives and everything, my Scat pack, you don't really notice that much at lower speeds. Now, one thing I can tell you, and I don't know why, I mean, maybe it's the way they set up the Hellcat, but it just, when I go to take off in the Hellcat, it doesn't feel as snappy, and I'm talking about just regular driving here. It doesn't feel as snappy as whenever I have my Scat pack, because I can't tell you how many times like I accidentally pressed the gas just a little too quickly on the Scat pack and tripped the tires a little bit. And this was even with a 305 tire setup on the back. So I'm not sure where the difference is in that. I really don't know. I know, obviously, like I'm sure probably a lot of people with Hellcats, they have the pedal commander. In my opinion, I really don't think it's worth that much money. And one thing I will say, now having a Hellcat, and mine's a 2020, so it has the dual snorkel hood, I guess that's what everybody calls it. But man, that supercharger whine, you can't beat that. And I haven't did any exhaust modifications yet, and it's almost kind of I don't know if I want to. I mean, yeah, I like loud cars, but once that exhaust gets louder, I'm not going to be able to hear that whine as clearly as I do now. Now, I mean, obviously outside of the car, say like if you're approaching somebody, you're going to be able to hear the supercharger. But as far as like being in the car and trying to keep the drone down as much as possible, it could be a challenge, and I'm still kind of debating on what exhaust route I want to go with. I kind of have an idea, but I'm going to save it for a later video, kind of make it a surprise. And I think I'm going to be the first to do this type of exhaust, and I don't want somebody to beat me to it, so I'm not going to talk about it right now. And also on cold starts, what I've noticed, the Hellcat, I mean, yeah, it's loud. Even if you go like stock versus stock, the Hellcat versus a Scat pack, the startup doesn't seem as snappy. Now, I have my Scat pack. When you cold started that thing, like, I mean, it would snap at you when it first started. And this one kind of seems a little bit more smooth. I'm not sure if it could be something to do with tuning or just how the 6.2 liter is set up. So next, let's talk about the handling. So obviously, well, to begin with, my Scat pack, it was just kind of like a base model, I guess you'd say. It just had like the 4-piston Brembo brakes, versus my Hellcat has the 6-piston. So obviously, like stopping and everything, it's a lot better and more responsive, it feels like, and obviously a lot safer, especially like earlier whenever I was driving, I hit a big traffic jam, I was able to stop quickly. Next, we'll move on to like suspension and stuff like that. I haven't noticed too big of a difference. Of course, I haven't really pushed this car that much. One thing I will say, if you have a Hellcat, don't ever put it in street mode as far as handling. The car just, it feels dangerous, especially going around like corners and stuff. I mean, not even like really pushing it that hard. but it just feels like the car floats way too much. And I'm not sure if I really ever noticed it with my Scat Pack. Now I'm thinking back, I really didn't notice it. I mean, that could just be with the way the adaptive suspension is in street mode. I'm not sure. Now this topic, a lot of people won't care because it's more of miles per gallon than miles per gallon. But I will go over the Mpg comparison, which, I mean, it's not really that big, but I will go ahead and go over it just so you have that input. So for the Scat Pack, I was able to get, I think it was like 24.8. I think that's the best MPGs I've ever got out of it. And the Hellcat so far, which the car only has 2,000 miles on it, so I've heard that once you kind of get a little bit more mileage on them, you might see a little bit better MPG. And so I haven't did like my first oil change or anything like that yet. But so far, the best I've got out on a Hellcat is 22.8. I mean, it's not really that big of a difference when you consider how much more power the Hellcat has. I mean, they're about the same weight and stuff. I think the Hellcat weighs like maybe 100 or 200 pounds more. I think it's more closer to 200 pounds more. But I mean, that's all I'm really going to cover on this, is just giving you my input of what I was able to get for MPGs on both of the vehicles. Hopefully that helps you out. All right, now let's get on the subject of looks. So obviously the Hellcat looks a lot better, and I have noticed that I get a hell of a lot more comments. People giving me like a thumbs up and stuff on the road when I'm driving the Hellcat. I mean, it's just, I mean, it's one of those like famous cars that everybody likes, and it's kind of like if you have a Challenger or a Charger, a lot of people don't pay any attention unless it is a Hellcat. That's obviously just my opinion, but I think the front bumper looks good on the Hellcat. But I will say one thing I miss from my Scat Pack is the fog lights. I do wish there was a way they could kind of revamp the front end on the Challenger to where you still have the fog lights and stuff. Because I mean, those really do help with visibility and stuff at night. And like most of the time, like I always use them, whether it's foggy or not. I always use them. So that's mostly it for the front. I mean, now, like, well, the 2020s, they don't just have SRT anymore on the front. They actually have SRT with the Hellcat emblem right beside it. And that, I mean, I obviously I think that's a good appeal. The hood is another big difference. Now, my Scat Pack was a 2019, so it had the Hellcat style hood. So I didn't have like the older style one, which I was kind of glad, because I do like that the old style Hellcat hood now. But this dual snorkel hood, I mean, I think it makes it look, it makes the Hellcat look a lot meaner now. And I think honestly it's the better one, and I mean, they're able to tune the car to where it can get 717 instead of 707. I think that's about it as far as talking about the front end. Now the side, there's not really that much of a difference other than the emblems, I guess. And the back isn't that much different either. I know I think it's the 2020 is the year of the Scat Packs. I think that's when they started doing the little Scat Pack logo on the SRT spoiler. So mine didn't have that. All right, so also I want to talk about the wheels as well. The Hellcat and stuff, it does have a better wheel lineup than the Scat Pack. That's my personal opinion. But I mean, throughout the years, even like the older style Hellcat wheels, which I mean you can still get today, and I think the older style ones actually look really good on the wide body Hellcats. But mine, it has the HC2 Hellcat style wheels. I think that's what people refer to them as. and they're like the 5-spoke ones, which I do like them, but I probably will eventually. I'm gonna go with some wheels later on down the road, or something like that, to where I can get like a fat tire on the back of it and stuff, for whenever I start doing like drag racing and that kind of stuff. But wheel wise, definitely Hellcat, it wins that one. So that's gonna do it for the outside of the car. So we'll move on like to the interior, and there's a couple things that are different. I mean, obviously the seats. I did do aftermarket seats. Well, not really aftermarket, but different OEM seats for both. For the Scat Pack, it just had like the houndstooth cloth seats, and I ended up doing the I found a pair of TA suede and leather seats, and I was able to program the car to where the ventilated part of the seats actually worked. And I had some patches that I was going to take and like put over the back part where it said TA. I actually had some patches that said Challenger Scat Pack on it, and I was going to put those on, and then I decided to get rid of the car, so I just didn't even worry about it. But I do like on the Hellcat, the ones I have, the suede and leather. If you look back on my videos, you'll see where I installed them. But they have the it's almost like the Hellcat, the SRT and the Hellcat emblem are stamped into the leather, and I do think that's a really big like visual appeal, like when people look in there and stuff and they see that. And next, let's see what else would be a big difference. Obviously, you got the red gauges. I do like that because I do have kind of a my car smoke show, and I'm doing like kind of like a, I don't want to overdo it, but I'm doing like a little bit of red accent to kind of make the car look a little better and make it look the way I want it. So you do have the gauges, and obviously you have the 200 mile an hour instead of the 180 mile an hour speedo. And on the passenger side vent, I'm not sure in the older models if they were different or not, but for my 2020, it has like the red SRT and then the Hellcat emblem on there. Also, we'll talk about the steering wheel is also pretty big difference. So you get like the bigger paddles, which the Scat Pack you can buy the SRT style paddles and put that on there if you want, but it comes factory with the Hellcat, obviously. So that's one thing I do like. Makes it a lot easier to shift and stuff. I do like the SRT right where the airbag is at, and I didn't know this until I actually drove the car at night for the first time, and I didn't know that the SRT lit up in red at night. And I think that's probably like one of the coolest things and one of the biggest things I was tickled about whenever I was kind of finding out what was different with the interior and stuff. So that's kind of a big one for me. I think that looks cool. One thing I don't like about the steering wheel in my Hellcat is this one has the silver trim pieces around the like radio and cruise control buttons and stuff, and it also has the silver down at the bottom where it's kind of the semi-flat bottom. I don't like that silver look, and I will end up changing that. I did order some hydro dip. I want to do carbon fiber hydro dip for the trim pieces on the steering wheel, and it'll match my instrument cluster bezel and also the center console bezel I have now. So that should all go good with that, and I'll be doing that video soon. And also so I know on the newer Scat Packs and stuff, you can order the full leather with the flat bottom, and personally I would actually prefer that one over the one that I have now. Which, I mean, obviously you switch over like the SRT airbag and stuff. Which, I mean, that might be something I do later on. Who knows? I might decide to kind of see if I like that better or not, and kind of set myself aside different from what everybody else is doing. All right, so the last thing we'll talk about today is which one's a better daily driver. So the Scat Pack, it does get better gas mileage, but I mean, it's not that much to really care, and not many people really care about MPGs. And I mean, obviously, I mean, you're driving a muscle car. If you wanted something that's better on MPGs, you'd go buy a freaking Prius or a Tesla or something. But as far as daily driving, I personally like driving my Hellcat more than I did my Scat Pack. And I guess a big thing about that is I get a lot more appreciation out of the Hellcat. And you just see people, they'll smile and stuff, or they'll get all excited when they see my car, and I'll kind of give it a little rev for them, or tap the gas a little bit, and they can hear that whine and stuff, and it just, you can tell it tickles them. But I mean, there's not really that much of a difference between daily driving. I mean, nowadays you can have a car with over 700 horsepower and just take it on a road trip and drive. I mean, yeah, you're going to get less gas mileage, but as far as driving the car, I mean, it's not, you take like an old 60s model like Camaro or Mustang or something, and you build it to like an old carbureted engine, you build it to 700 horsepower and try to daily drive that thing. that's not going to work. And I just think it's amazing how far technology's gotten to where you can actually take a car with this amount of power, and you can take and run it down the drag strip if you want, or you can just take it on a cruise. And that's one of the big things I like about the Challenger. And I haven't rode in a Charger before, but I mean, obviously it's got the comfort as well. But I mean, it's so comfortable to drive. I mean, like with like a Mustang or Camaro, you can't really fit anybody in the back seats, and the Challenger actually has a little bit more room. And I mean, it is a boat. Everybody refers to it as a boat. But it does really ride like smooth, and it's comfortable. And I mean, either like you take either one of them, and I think it'd be a great daily driver. So to wrap up this video, it's really your choice on whether you think it would be worth the upgrade or not. To me personally, I was able to get a awesome deal on my Hellcat. I had to drive like over 12 hours to get the car, but I think it's honestly worth the upgrade. Now, I mean, if you're planning on like upgrading and stuff, or doing like mods or anything like that, I think the Hellcat is better, because you start getting to the 392, you start adding type of forced induction, and you're gonna have to start getting everything forged and all that. And for the Hellcat, I mean, you can spend like, I think it's like $3 or $4 grand from what research I did on like upgraded pulleys and tunes and stuff like that, and you can get a lot more power out of the car fairly easy, compared to building a 392 up to where it has a lot of power, whether it's NA, and like say it's like a cammed NA, full bolt on with tune and all that, and even going like E85, versus the Hellcat, you get some pulley upgrades, maybe some better injectors and stuff, and mess with the tuning a little bit, and I mean, it's that simple. I mean, you can get an extra, I think they have like packages for like 800 and 900. Alright, well, that's going to do it for today's video. I'm sure y'all are ready for me to stop rambling on about stuff, but I definitely want to give you my perspective on personally owning a Scat Pack and then owning a Hellcat, and if I thought it was worth the upgrade. And that's a big hell yeah, it is. But if you want to see more content kind of like this, where I'm comparing like different trim models and stuff, or if you want to see me do like a comparison between different makes like Ford or Chevy or Dodge lineup, or even other types of vehicles, if you want to see more content like that, just throw it in the comment section, and if you have a specific comparison, just bring that to my attention in the comments, and I'll see what I can do with that. But also don't forget, hit that subscribe button and hit that bell notification so you don't miss out on any videos. I am hoping next week I will be doing my steering wheel cover that I have, and it's not a place-on steering wheel cover, it's one you actually stitch on. So hopefully we'll get that next week. It is going to be kind of time consuming, and I'm sure it's going to be frustrating trying to get everything lined up right. But anyways, keep an eye out for that video, and we'll see you next time.